Welcome back, nieces, nephews, everything in between and or otherwise. You guys know that one cutscene in Breath of the Wild where Urbosa and Zelda are sitting together in Vah Naboris? Well, I have always found it pretty interesting that they were able to be so comfortable in this big robot tank roaming the desert. I mean, Zelda must have been real comfortable considering she fell asleep in there. And then I started wondering which divine beast would be the best to chill in. And then I figured, hey, we might as well move in. So I'm making this to round out some of the more obscure places for the residents of Hyrule to live in. And of course, if you haven't seen the first two videos, be sure to check them out. I made a playlist for them all to keep it simple. And same as the other videos, there are going to be a few rules. For starters, in this scenario, you're an average, able-bodied human, but if you want, we can pretend you're a Hylian. With none of Link's special stuff, but mostly just no paraglider. Though, y'all are in for a treat this time because I am going to give you your very own Sheikah Slate. Because it would be next to impossible to even get into your new homes without using the fast travel system of the Sheikah Slate. And even if you could get in, you'd have trouble just getting from room to room without it. I guess there aren't that many rules. But in my last two videos, I didn't take into consideration the overworld location of the places I was talking about, mostly out of laziness. Since we only got the 4 of these to talk about today, I will be considering them, and they will be pretty significant in the ranking factor. And the last thing is that we will be taking out all the baddies and blights for you, of course, unless you want to get them to sign a lease with you. Now, before we really get into it, I am going to be a YouTuber for a sec and ask for all of y'all to subscribe at the end of the video if you do end up liking the video, or any other nerdy videos I do make. At the time of writing this, I have yet to upload the first episode of Analysis Time, so hopefully y'all liked that too. And if you're an Adventure Time fan and you haven't seen it, go ahead and check that out. It's pretty good if you can trust my unbiased opinion. But enough talk, let's discuss the worst divine beast to live in Breath of the Wild. And unfortunately for me, the worst one is the bird, divine beast Vah Medoh. This was a hard hit for me for a couple of reasons. For one, I just really like birds, and two, this is my favorite divine beast. And unfortunately, I just can't look past some of these glaring issues. For instance, it is dangerously cold no matter where you go on this thing, inside or out, as well as it's just a pain to get around in this place. If you want to get from the entrance floor to the bottom floor, you have to hop on one of these sliding platforms and then adjust the tilt so that you slide to the right, and make sure you don't fall off while these things are moving because there aren't any seatbelts, much less anything to hold on to. Once you make it to the right wing of your new home, take a nice long walk to the very end where you got some ramps to go down, where a trolley should be waiting for you. Now, you're definitely going to want to hold on to the railings of this thing because if you slip up, you'll be falling down for about a mile. Once secure in the trolley, tilt the bird the opposite direction, and you'll take a far too fast trip back to the other side of the wing, and to the entrance of the bottom floor. Now, how many of y'all forgot that I was explaining how to get from the main floor to the bottom? Because while writing this, I sure did. Twice. But now that we are down here, we can ask ourselves, was this even worth it? Because there is nothing down here. I mean, you can look through the glass at the ground, and if you really focus, then you'll start noticing the cracks in the edges of the glass. So, that's fun. But even on the other side, there isn't really anything but cold air. So now, if you retrace your steps all the way back up to the start again, you can move these platforms around to get to the head. You will need to use magnesis here, so hopefully you read the manual that came with your Sheikah Slate. Now, I'll be real with you here, there isn't that much space in the head for anything. But it does have a slight advantage over most of the bird because it doesn't tilt. With this beast and a few others, you will need to twist and turn large portions of them to move around. So spots that don't move are a commodity in this market. And that's this beast's biggest flaw, is that you just don't have that much actual room. The widest and most accessible spaces are subject to tilting in the bird. And the areas that don't tilt don't really give you a whole lot of space for your stuff. But compared to a lot of shrines from the last few videos, it's enormous. But none of the shrines reach freezing cold temperatures just from standing around. And the last thing, and the worst part in my opinion, is that you can't even access the best part of this place without a paraglider. And that's the giant, beautiful courtyard on top, with so much space, a great view of Hyrule, and grass and tiny flowers growing up there. Somehow. This place would have been amazing for parties, having lunches, or just hanging out. It's pretty damn cold up there though, so it isn't undeserving of this placement. Alright, it's time to address the elephant in the lake here and talk about divine beast Vah Ruta, who is an elephant in a lake. This is the second to last only because you don't have to worry about the temperature, and also there are only 4 of them, so every placement is subject to opinion. And I'll be honest, this place is very cool if you've ever wanted to live in a water park, but not so much if you've ever heard of mold. Any step you take in this place, you can look down and see some patches of green growing out at you, which granted could just be moss, but do you really want to take that chance? Let's say you do and go through it. This place is wet all the time, everywhere, so at any given moment you could slip and fall and who knows what, oh my lord. But I will say that this place is about fully accessible, though you'd have to be pretty physically capable to get around, and be wearing some next level no-slip shoes. You'll have to jump and ride up the flat part of these gears to get up, and they're pretty darn slick, and it's a pretty far fall, not to mention there isn't really a roof. You know, it's good that you can't control the trunk pouring the water down, but you don't have much of a choice if it starts raining. But hey, this would be a great place to live if you love having wet socks, so what do I know, you know? And yet again, I reached the final 2 spots and I second guessed myself for their placements. So I'll just tell y'all what I wrote down and you guys can hash it out in the comments. At number 2, we have the camel, divine beast Vah Naboris. Now, noise pollution is a real concern here with this behemoth stamping around in the desert, but I am willing to look past that because of how much I like this one. I mean, the main reason I decided to make this video was because of that cutscene with this divine beast. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure that took place right around here. Now, this place is admittedly the most complicated to navigate with the twisting of the insides and all, but what good home doesn't have its quirks? Once you do get a handle on how to get where, this place has some great spots, like these balconies on the sides, and this area in the front of the camel where you can take an elevator up to the head and get a view of just about everything. And on the opposite end, you can ride a cube up to this lovely outdoors area, which would be a great place to set up some tables, some chairs, some plants, some benches, as just an amazing patio section, or a porch. And then if you climb up this ladder, you'll be treated to the main selling point of this home. The humps. The humps are one of the few stationary areas in the beast and has some of the best lighting too, if I may say so. And if you twist the inside so that all of the green power lines are at the top, it will activate these elevator platforms in both of the humps that will take you to the higher levels of them. The hump towards the back has 2 levels, which isn't unique to them, but the second level of the hump is only accessible by climbing a ladder. And it has less space, and this big pushy wheel thing that you shouldn't mess with because it activates the little trolley that connects the lower levels of the elevator rooms. So it is cool that you can get up there, but there isn't much room for anything to really get set up. Nice views though. The front hump is where you can really get things going though. This one has 2 layers that you can get up to both with just the elevator, and both are the same size with nothing in your way of your space. The middle floor has access to the trolley, so it makes it really easy to visit the other side. But the top of the hump is my favorite spot in this entire divine beast. I would set my room up in this area because if you time the platform's movement right when it's at its highest point, you can twist the middle ring of the beast to keep the platform from going back down, and you'll get all of the privacy you want, minus what people are able to see through the mesh at your feet, though it'd be pretty hard for anyone to come up there and peek on you in the first place. And in the space between the humps at the bottom, I would definitely use as a living room / office. The entire shrine is amazing lighting, but I really love how the light hits in this area at the right time of day. Only thing I don't really love is how high up the windows are. I wish they were a bit lower so that you're able to see the view, but with how much of this place is already exposed, it might not be so bad. Honestly, the very worst part about this shrine is that you'll probably be sweeping up sand all the time. But our top pick has just about the opposite issue with windows. And my top pick for the best divine beast to live in is the big bad lizard, divine beast Vah Rudania, who just so happens to reside in an active volcano. Now I know that sounds bad, but hear me out here. Now yes, outside of the beast, right where you spawn in, is blazing hot. Like, you will erupt into flames hot if you don't move quickly. But as soon as you're past that threshold of the door, it's completely just normal. Not hot, not cold to any noticeable degree. I mean, if you check, the temperature barely moves towards the warmer side, so there's that. But to be honest, the burning to death is kind of the most interesting part of this place. Its biggest selling point is that it's almost boring. It's like the divine beast that is closest to a normal house. You walk in and everything is just a walk away, really. No weird jumps, no twisting, no turning, or trunk orienting for this majestic animal to get from room to room. This place is able to turn at a 90-degree angle, but there is literally zero need for it in its current state. There's no reason to turn this place over because all the rooms you'll be worried about are already there for you to use. This is the one place where you can actually come in, put your furniture down, and not have to worry about any of it getting whipped around. Isn't it kind of weird to think that that's a feature for a home? But these divine beasts and shrine have shortchanged our view on what passes as a home nowadays. Let me grab my cane and tell you that back in my day, the kids lived in the forest and the adults lived in the town. But now they're living in elephants and camels and birds.
Oh my!
But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy who made the entire video. But let me know what you guys think. Should Rudania have been dead last because you could die just by going there? Let me know in the comments below. That rhymed. And hey, while you're down there, go ahead, leave some ideas for videos that you want to see. I read all my comments, even the dumb ones. And if y'all did like this video and you want to see more nerd stuff like it, go ahead and subscribe and drop a like if you're feeling really generous. And I hope y'all are liking these videos every 2 weeks if this video went out at the right time. Ideally, this is how it'll always be, but alas, I'm only human. And if y'all did like that analysis time video, then you're in luck, because I've got part 2 coming out as the next video, covering the next, possibly 3 episodes of the show. But with that, I've got nothing else to say, so later!